Hey, what's going on, guys? Back again with Wifflemas with our number 5 team for the season, and that is going to be the Pacific Predators. The Predators had a pretty solid year, 8-7. Really turned it up at the end. They started the season 1-5, and even then lost the next series against the Midwest Mallards, who were a good team. This was the wild series where they were playing in the ballpark, where if you hit the net, it would be a home run. Stephen McGlade really struggled, and the Mallards put Brendan Davenport in. And really, if the Preds should have lost that game, the second game of the Mallard series, but ended up being able to pull it out, and then went on a huge winning streak where they swept the Wildcats and the Cobras, completely shutting out the Cobras. And what you have is a pretty solid season. Ended up beating the Wildcats again in a 2-1 series, but got swept by the Magic in the ALCS. And overall, a really solid year. Ryan Kratch just does Ryan Kratch things, right? I mean, had a 1.0 ERA in the regular season, and then went into the playoffs and did pretty much the same thing where he was pitching lights out, only gave up a few runs overall. Yeah, had a 1.91 ERA, so really much the same production that he got in the playoffs. But the problem, it seems like this year, is that they didn't necessarily have a fourth man in terms of, or a second person in terms of pitching. Stephen McGlade really got found out this year and had a 4.60 ERA. It looks like the Preds are, pretty much up there in terms of pitching. A third in terms of teams for pitching this year. Did amazing. Did pretty well as batting as well, with Ryan Kratch had an amazing 3.77 average. Rudy Ramirez, 206. Brendan Russell, 250. Alec Ward, 244. I mean, they really picked it up towards the end of the season. However, when it came down to the playoffs, did not have that same level of production. And they definitely struggled. Stephen McGlade, 0. Rudy Ramirez, 0. Brendan Russell, 1.33. Alec Ward still very consistent. And, that's kind of how it's been, is that Ryan has been so amazing. Alec Ward, steady, consistent. But sometimes in those tougher games, where is Brendan Russell? Where is Rudy? Where is Steven? I mean, Jake Longman didn't really get to see much playing time. And it seems like the Preds are back to the drawing board. Who do they need to get in terms of pitching? I felt like this year the Preds really stepped it up on defense. I mean, that's something I have criticized them for a while, is like sometimes you'd look and you'd see a play and you're like, what are they? What is going on? What are they doing? And this year, I mean, I watched every game, and I was very hard-pressed to find a time where I was like, what are they doing? They did some amazing things. Alec, of course, on the base pass is a menace, constantly, threatening to steal, tearing something into a double, into a triple, into an inside the park home run. I mean, that's just what he does, and he did that amazing this year. Ryan Kratch, so hard to keep off in terms of home runs. I mean, he hit 4 in the regular season, 2 in the postseason. I mean, guy is so hard to pitch around. And the thing is that, this is the problem all along, is that they had those 3 guys. I think Brennan played pretty well this year. Yes, not so much in the playoffs, but regular season, I mean, probably had one of his most consistent and better seasons in a bit. The question is now in a 4-team league, you need that fourth. Is Rudy the answer in terms of batting? I think he played a lot better this year. However, you're going to need a second guy. It seems like in the playoffs, no matter what, you're going to need somebody else. You're going to need somebody to step up. And maybe, Ryan's not working out when they're in the Magic. Maybe put somebody else in. Like, imagine if you had a Heath or a Pearson or a Sailor or somebody to kind of plug in for the Preds. And that would be huge for them. So maybe looking into the draft this year, maybe they're thinking there is some guy they have their eye on. Maybe there's a friend of Kratch that, we don't know about yet. But, I mean, I would I'm not really going to take time to criticize too much, because I felt like a lot of my criticisms were answered this year. It just is very clear they need another pitcher, and it seems like a lot of guys need more pitchers this year, and they're a little farther back in the draft. Do the Preds look to trade for somebody? I mean, they've got capital, Jake Longman. They could maybe use some picks, maybe trade up for some picks. Maybe somebody doesn't want to use their picks this year. I think the Preds have a lot of options, and I hope they use something. I hope they do something with it. But overall, I think this was a really solid year. I know it started off very rough with both playing the Magic, who were on a hot streak early in the season, and obviously the World Series champions, playing the D-backs as well, being a really good Wildcat squad. And next year they're playing the Eagles and they're playing the Gators, so maybe they can easily improve with having maybe the Gators on their schedule if the Gators do not improve this next season. And are the Eagles going to be consistent? Those guys are young, so it's going to be tough. It'll be another tough season, and the AL is not getting any easier. I'm expecting the Cobras and the Wildcats to bounce back. So we will see. We will see what all happens this next season. What do you guys think about the Preds this season? I think it was a very solid year. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And yeah, this is Nickens. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.